Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Moon Knight, Black, White, and Blood. Eh. I like the first issue for the most part, but this is part 2 of 4. I didn't like this one as much. There are 3 stories in here. Let's get into all of them. The Empty Tomb by Benjamin Percy and Vanessa R. Del Rey. One is the writer, one is the artist, but they just call them storytellers. They do that for all of them here. That's stupid. If people don't know they're storytellers, then that's on them. People like me can explain that, but for the love of God, I mean, let us know which one is the writer, which one is the artist. If we just jumbled around, the name David Pepose and Leonardo Romero and Chris Sotomayor, I think that far fewer people would understand who's the writers and who's the artists in this one, right? But anyway, those 3 people are responsible for the Hard Day's Night story. That's Night with a K. And then Blood Red Glider. Patch Zurcher did all the work there. That's actually Patrick Zurcher. You can call that person the storyteller because he obviously did all of the work, minus the lettering. Anyway, Ryan Stegman, J.P. Meyer, and Carlos Lopez did the cover art with a variant cover by Dustin Weaver. For the most part, these stories were okay. The Empty Tomb one by Percy didn't make a whole lot of sense at the end. Basically, Moon Knight's trying to he's trying to get rid of Khonshu. He doesn't want to be the avatar of Khonshu anymore. He wants to be, by himself. He goes to Doctor Strange, trying to get some help. Strange says a bunch of things to try and say, no, don't do it because so-and-so. He says, I want to do it anyway. And then he goes to do it. And then he has questions. And then finally says, okay. And it was actually easier than he thought it was going to be. And I don't think he needed this, that, and the other thing if he's always in communication with the freaking guy. And it's like, it doesn't actually make any kind of sense. He's in contact with Khonshu all the time. Why did he have to go on this freaking spirit quest? Right? Why didn't he bring a bottle of water with him? Like, it really didn't make any sense. And why did the ending look the way that it did? And why did that happen? What happened? It's one of those things where it's like, this has to be out of continuity because none of it made sense. The ending was absolutely absurd to me. If somebody enjoyed it, cool. If it's just, it's a one-shot standalone, doesn't have anything to do with anything, it's in universe 0648192R LMNO 6, that's what Earth it's in. Okay, fine. And nothing else is ever going to happen in that Earth. Cool. Then it is what it is, right? But I don't know. So I just look at it as a very weird story that I just kind of went, okay, cool, and I can't wait to forget about it. Then there's the Hard Day's Night. This was basically Mark Spector sitting down in a diner, and a waitress is like, hey, get your usual? Okay, cool. And she ignores the fact that he's got blood all over him, and then she walks away and says, have fun talking to your friends. Meanwhile, there's nobody there. But in his mind, he's talking to Khonshu and all the different versions of himself, Well, some 3 versions of himself, Khonshu and Lockley and Grant. Anyway, it's kind of cool. It's like, hey, who had this body last because you left a knife wound in me? Don't we have an agreement that we're supposed to get things stitched up before we pass over the body? Okay, but who put the glass in my knuckles? Okay, but then who got the burn on my other shoulder? And who did this and who did that? And hey, how come I just lost a tooth? Oh, well, it's because Khonshu was, and here's the thing that lost me. Because for the most part, the story ended with him showing, like, despite all this stuff, he takes it all in stride because he knows that he's doing good in the world, in all different sectors of, America or Manhattan or whatever the hell you're going to call it. He kicks butt, he takes names, and the world is safer because of him. The people in the restaurant felt safe because of him. But there was one point when, after his tooth got knocked out, he's like, Khonshu, what the heck is this? And he's like, oh, yeah, I had a fight with Cain Marco, the Juggernaut. There we go. And I told him to tell his god, Siderac, stay the hell out of my dimension. It's like, the other versions of Moon Knight were like, whoa, you beat up the Juggernaut? Whoa. They weren't even that surprised. It was all faux surprise. I look at it as, who cares? I wasn't particularly surprised. I mean, based on all the people who can kick, Juggernaut's ass, who have kicked Juggernaut's ass, I'm starting to think that I might be able to kick Juggernaut's ass. No, hold on, hear me out. Okay, don't just, brush this off like, it's a fight. No, listen. I've been in the martial arts since I was 8. I'm still in the martial arts. Like, I started doing jiu-jitsu a couple of months ago. I'm saying I've got like a world-renowned coach who's teaching me. I hang out with a guy who does boxing. Like he's also known, at least in Canada, he's known. But no, he's world-renowned because he's actually been in a lot of movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying, I got some really good people in my corner. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, I'm a big guy. You know, I'm tall. You know what I'm saying? Pretty strong. I got this, right? I think I could kick Juggernaut's ass. I think. I'm not positive, but when I said like Moon Knight kicked his ass, I mean, he's a guy who's not going to dodge, right? So I think, take out the guy's eye. He's not going to dodge it. You can't do that with Spider-Man. He's going to be like, oh, I think that my spider sense tells me he's going to try and rip my eye out. No. I'd take out. What's this freaking guy going to do after he loses his eye? You know, so he's like, oh, I'm dizzy and because I'm looking in two different ways at the same time and just knock him out. I'm saying, I think I could kick Juggernaut's ass. That's what I think. I bet you Aunt May could kick his ass at some point. Just hit him with her walker or something like that. I think I could kick his ass. I'll borrow Aunt May's walker. Anyway, so yeah, it didn't make Moon Knight look any tougher. It's just considerably added to the idea that anybody could kick Juggernaut's ass. And if somebody not even loses to Juggernaut, but has a hard time beating up Juggernaut, that hero's obviously a pussy. That hero's obviously weak sauce because it's just the Juggernaut, dude. And I'm saying, I could kick the Juggernaut's ass. Come on. Get some quick dry cement. I got this. The final story, and this is the clincher, is Blood Red Glider. This is the one he's calling himself Patch Searcher now. Now, I usually don't directly insult the writer or artist on something. I'll insult the work. Well, I'm going to insult the work, but I'm also going to insult the person. I have to because now my mind is possibly forever changed about Patch Zurcher. He's look, it was a boring story about a guy with a red butterfly tattoo in his chest. Maybe we've seen him before. He just looks like another Bushman knockoff. Might as well have Bushman proper in here. But Moon Knight, Stephen Grant, what do you call it? Mark Spector, when he was a mercenary, shamed by the CIA, he did some bad things in Africa, like, blood diamond stuff, whatever, and he wanted to get revenge on this glider guy, whatever the hell this freaking guy, the butterfly tattoo on the chest thing guy name. He's got, basically it's a male booby tramp stamp. All right. He wants to get revenge on him, but it was 5 years ago, and whatever. So this African chick, a black African chick, no, not someplace down in freaking, South Africa where it could be a white African chick. Anyway, she sends a package of butterflies across the seas to, like, this alone was dumb to me. I know it's just comic books, but I've ordered directly. I'm not talking about eBay or nonsense like that. I've directly contacted people by phone. I got a good cell phone system, and ordered directly from Somalia and from Tanzania. I'm sorry. It takes 2 weeks minimum to get something specifically delivered to you. Not by Harbor Freight, right? Not by shipping containers and stuff like that. No, like, I'm ordering something specific. I need you to get it to me without sending a direct courier, but doing it like personally one-on-one. No, 2 weeks. All right? That stuff don't happen overnight unless that person's coming in by a flight and has it on their carry-on. You're not getting that stuff in less than 2 weeks. I don't want to hear it. So somehow these butterflies survived for 2 freaking weeks with a note that said, he's back. And you recognize where the butterflies come from. I don't see Mark Spector as being that particularly smart. I don't see any version of this guy, aside from finances with Stephen Grant. I don't particularly see, even then, I don't know why his finances ideas would be so good. He didn't go to school for it. He made money as a mercenary, and he posed as a rich guy named Stephen Grant. I don't think he's that smart. I just don't think he's that smart. Sorry. Anyway, so he goes there, and she's like, oh, you're going to help me out. Smacks him in the face. He's like, fine, I'll do it. Like, what the hell's going on here? And in the end, All of this stuff is boring, mind you. The fight, the characters, the bad guy, the plot, everything there is weak sauce. The only reason why I'm remembering this is because at the end, she basically says to him, get out of Africa and don't come back. Whoa. This isn't even like Tiger saying, don't come back to the Princess Bar, or I'm so influential here, your Madripoor privileges have been revoked. No. This is just some random chick who says stay out of Africa. Sorry, what now? Maybe I gotta use my creative mind and, go into anti-racist Ibram X. Kendi mode here instead of thinking like an engineer who looks at axiomatic mathematical principles in equation form and say, well, what you do to one side of equation, you clearly have to do to the other side because, math. So if I were to tell somebody, get out of America and don't come back, especially if it's somebody of a different color than me, that would be racist. But over on this side, I'm sorry, this is not Moon Knight, black, white, and blood. It's black, white, and woke. That's all this is. And because the reason why I say that I'm actually disgusted at what Patch Zurcher does here, Patrick Zurcher, is because this was a boring story that had nothing different to it in every way, shape, and form, except that it had that pseudo woke thing where it's like, you can't say this on this side of the equation, but you can do it on that side of the equation. I know that I've read things and looked at the art by Pat Zurcher before, and nothing ever made me go, oh, there's nothing in my mind. I didn't research him afterwards, but there's nothing in my mind that I can say, oh, this one memorable thing that he's done, or these several memorable things. And your favorite writers and artists, you can quote back, oh, they did this, they did this, they did this. So of course this next thing they're going to do is good, right? I can't think of anything at all like that with Pat Zurcher. But I'm going to remember this one because it was so egregious and unnecessarily so. It was woke. And this is that Hollywood / cult mindset that white people are oppressors and everybody else is oppressed. You could say that 60 years ago. You can't say that today. I like very few of those people are still alive today. Very few. It's a new world, bud. Like I'm speaking directly to Patch. It's a new world. And newsflash, even though people in Hollywood or your little cult mentality, your Facebook or whatever mindset, your echo chamber that's telling you, be woke, man, show yourself to be an ally, show this, show that. Far more than half of the country, I would say 80%, that's the official statistics, 80% of the culture, 80% of the population of just America alone, we could talk about up here in Canada where it's far more negative against your favor. 80% of Americans do not approve or like or respond well to woke bullshit in any way, shape, or form. You would be very hard-pressed to find a Latino who likes the Latin X term. He didn't do that in this, but this is the kind of mentality in here. You're going to be very hard-pressed to find... You'll find some black people who are okay with the whole, Marxist, where we have, like, the rich versus the poor, the oppressors versus the oppressed. Now let's just substitute white people for anybody of color. Asians don't agree with that. Latinos don't agree with that. Indigenous people, for the most part, don't even agree with that. I know. I'm part indigenous. When you have this cult mindset where you can have somebody of one color say something racist, but it's not considered racist because the other side would be racist if they say it, but not this side because what are you going to do? Like, are you saying reparations or some form? Like what exactly is being said here? This is bullshit. It was a boring AF story without the wokeist stuff in it. But the wokeist stuff was the thing that made me stop and realize he had no story. Decent art, although I don't even want to comment too much on the art because maybe I would have said the art was actually really good, but I'm not being very objectivist right now. I can't be because I'm so annoyed by the fact that this man had zero inspiration for this story. Zero. And the only thing that makes it even remotely interesting is stay out of Africa. Now, you would have had like freaking Nelson Mandela, his ghost, come back and say something like that. I'd be like, when Nelson Mandela's ghost tells you to stay your white ass out of Africa, you better do so. Like I would have cheered for that. I would have marked out for that. But this was not that. This was just dumb. This is just some absolute rando saying some absolute bullshit, but it was taken somewhat gospel-y. This is stupid. This was so stupid to see something like that in an absolutely boring, completely forgettable story. But now, from this point on, this is where the insult comes from. I cannot look at a Patrick Zurcher story, call yourself Patch or whatever the hell you want to call yourself for, easy peasy, right? Easy peasy, because you have zero talent when it comes to writing a story, but you try to do something that's going to get people's attention. Congratulations, it worked. Because anytime I see Pat Zurcher attached to some kind of story that I'm otherwise thinking about reading, there's a high likelihood I'm going to look at that and say, not interested. Not interested. Because it's probably just going to be some wokeist agenda bull without any actual substance to it. Good job, Pat. Good job. Keep calling yourself Patch. Anyway, you try and patch up what's left of your freaking career at this point. Stupid little things like that. And I know I'm madder than I should be, but wow, this was dumb. Anyway, I'm done. I'm out. Guys, enjoy your day. Go find something better to read. This, for the most part, none of these stories in here were particularly memorable. None of them were very inspired. The middle one, Hard Day's Night, it actually had something there, but again, ruined with the Juggernaut thing. I'm not going to be looking at issue number 3. I don't care if this video gets 10,000 views. You know what I'm saying? I am not going to be doing issue 3 because get the F out of here. What are they possibly going to do, right? Anyway, I'm out. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.